Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the East Lyme Board of Selectmen meeting of December 18th. Would you like to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additional agenda consent calendar items?
I don't think so.
I just would like to switch new business B and A, if that's okay. Gary is here. We have a lot of appointments, so we'll, Gary's got a 4 or 5 minute thing. We can get him in, get him out, if you don't mind that.
No, no problem.
Delegations, anybody would like to speak to the board? Delegations, sir? We shall be back before you sweat.
We don't have anybody, right? Can you get that?
Just pull that microphone. Yeah, there you go. Awesome.
Is he coming back?
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, he'll be right back.
You're on the track. There you go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you up and then run out.
That's
Grab
all right.
something at my office. Thank you.
There you go.
Good evening. My name is William Swickey. I live at 425 Drosdick Drive, Groton. I own and pay taxes on a tract of forest land located at 224 Chesterfield Road.
Good evening, sir.
The October 21st issue of the Day newspaper was when I first learned about a Darrell Pond plan. The newspaper was my major source of information about what East Lyme officials are doing concerning 16 Mostway Road and Darrell Pond. That pond is also known to me as Mustaway Pond, since the Mustaway family owned it, then J.C. Penney, and then along came other owners of 16 Mostaway Road. They took turns at ravaging what was pristine farmland with well-groomed fertile hayfields, with stone fences, with apple trees. They spent other people's money to create a mess, then moved on. I was born and raised at 70 Mostaway Road. I used Darrell Pond for fishing and swimming since I was 8 years old, without being charged with trespassing. The only thing that ever stopped me was old age. So it's down to mostly fishing, even though I'm only 83. Having studied that newspaper article, and due to my confusion and limited education, I decided to look up the meaning of some words. The word perpetuity, it means forever. The word permanent, it means forever. The word restriction, it means something that limits or controls something else. There's the word frugal. It means thriftiness, avoidance of waste, and involving very little expense. The phrase permanent restriction is used in the Day article. It appears to refer to owning a pond and not being allowed to use it. There appears to be many players involved in this Darrell Pond plan, perhaps to rescind or circumvent a permanent restriction that may provide access to the pond, or perhaps players attempting to unravel something that was given up in perpetuity, or perhaps players attempting to settle litigation because something may have gone wrong, or perhaps players attempting to avoid financial loss that may be due to foreclosure. This new Darrell Pond plan involves spending a lot of money, and it will involve voting to approve the expenditure by the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance. East Lyme taxpayers will get the final vote. How many of the tax-paying voters will be in a position to be well-informed, to be intellectually qualified to vote, to approve or disapprove this complex plan? I remember a World War II movie where a police captain observes a friend shoot and kill a Nazi officer and then gives the order to round up the usual suspects. Will this plan be advanced, unchallenged by the usual voters? I'm not referring to a challenge by town officials. I'm referring to a challenge by properly informed voters and landowners. Perhaps I need to seek something like intervenor status for more than stand here and read questions. I need to be in a position to ask questions and get answers on behalf of myself and other voters to ensure that all this activity involving 16 Mastery Road and Darrow's Pond plan doesn't have an adverse effect on the marketing value of adjacent land or the potential for avoidable litigation. Is it allowable for an owner of land that attaches an easement or permanent restriction on that land to become the owner of that easement and permanent restriction, whereby being in a position to sell that easement or permanent restriction to a future owner of that land who wishes to avoid that easement and permanent restriction for any reason? Through what process will the purchase of additional land provide public access to the pond? I understand the distinction between conservation and preservation, but what's the distinction between permanent restrictions and easements relating to this Darrow Pond plan? Exactly where is this land that will permit public access to Darrow Pond by acquisition? Exactly which part of the pond is the 7 acres located? How is this 7 acres of water accessed? How will the increased traffic affect the value and cost for the future marketing of adjacent land? Is the acquisition of this land and water restricted only through a land trust? Is the town limited to apply for a taxpayer-funded money grant only when dealing with a tax-exempt land trust? Are town officials willing to consider another proposal to purchase land that may provide public access to the pond or may not? What role can the words in the Connecticut statutes play in the Darrow Pond Plan, Chapter 822? Let's examine the possibility of my becoming a player in this Darrow Pond Plan, in the spirit of equal opportunity, joining the other players that appear to be rallying around a proverbial money tree, who appear to believe that applying for grant money is free money. Over 3 years ago, voters approved spending around $350,000 to purchase a gas station. Upon reading about this purchase in the newspaper and in my excitement about this liberal spending, I submitted a proposal for the voters to purchase my wildlife habitat, as they did with the gas station. My research didn't show that there was an executive session to discuss my proposal, nor did I find it on any agenda for a vote, nor did I receive a response as to why not. Having my proposal handled as it was, and having read about liberal spending for property after property, I became interested in the word prejudice, which means in part, causing disadvantage or harm to somebody or something. Looking back at how the Board of Selectmen handled my proposal, I now realize why the board appeared to have no interest in my proposal, and why I'm still the owner of land I protected as wildlife habitat for many years and continue to pay taxes. It goes something like this. Long ago, before farmers were selling off their farms, I enjoyed hunting and fishing and catching frogs and whatever wildlife habitat had to offer. As time passed, European immigrants that owned and worked farmland got old and tired after years and years of toiling in 12-hour days without overtime pay, without paid vacations, without group health insurance, with only a pension plan that consisted of the equity in land they owned and farmed. Some died at an early age, and some, along with their offspring, decided to take the easier life and began selling off their farms. Driven by the law of supply and demand, the buyers weren't interested in farming. They were busy building houses, and people were busy buying these houses to create a home in the country, to raise children in what was thought to be a better environment. This sell-off didn't go without opposition. The big rage at the time was the destruction of wildlife habitat. When someone that owned and worked farmland dared to comment about this destruction by saying wildlife didn't pay rent or help with the property taxes, that notion was met with scorn by many that never owned and worked farmland. I embraced the concept to protect land from wildlife. Then, when I became the sole owner of land that is contiguous to Darrell Pond, I continued to protect that tract of land for wildlife habitat, but not in perpetuity. However, having recently read for the first time the steering committee's report that was completed in 2009, I noticed the phrase open space was used 27 times in the first 2 pages. Never saw the phrase wildlife habitat used in this report. So there I was, 3 years ago, influenced by liberal spending, standing at this podium trying to market wildlife habitat, not realizing at the time I was talking to a newer generation of people, apparently under the influence of the steering committee report that indicated the old movement to protect land for wildlife was over and dead. This new movement is to share it with a new phenomenon called open space, so that people can build trails for hiking and biking and walking their dogs, with the potential for creating a stressful environment for the wildlife that live there, not only during hunting season, but almost all year long. There are players involved in this plan who may believe the key to the decision to spend millions depends on how much townspeople value access to Darrell Pond. But at what cost? Since I believe the key to gaining access is how much money can be saved. This is where the word frugal should come into play. I'm proposing my land to be included in this Darrell Pond plan, not as wildlife habitat, but forested land with over hundreds of feet of approved road frontage, with low traffic and a view of picturesque and tranquil Darrell Pond, along with the potential for public access for fishing. This land is identified as 224 Chesterfield Road. My proposal will cost taxpayers thousands of dollars instead of millions. During my potential tenure as intervener, I would refer to the steering committee's report that advocates thriftiness and action that involves less expense. The members of that committee appear to be smart people in contact with experts. They appear to advise against increasing impervious surfaces that decrease water quality in watercourses like the stream that flows from Darrell Pond, that flows into Latimer's Brook, that flows into Niantic River. Also, in a subtle way, this advice controls the student population that ensures a stable school budget and saves money. This report convinced me that forested land has a cost of community service of 31 cents as compared to $1.11 if town officials and town voters allow this land at 224 Chesterfield Road to be converted from forest land to residential. The cost to purchase this land, which is negotiable, may be a one-time payment of only $31.25 per taxpayer among approximately 8,000 homeowners. 8,000 is a number I received from the tax collector's office. In comparison, the cost to purchase 16 Mastery Road was $537.50, and the 200-acre open space section for walking trails cost $358.33 for each of the same taxpayers. In addition, consider the fairness in applying for $500,000 matching grant money or using any other equal amount of money when there's this proposal on the table for land that's referred to in the steering committee's report and doesn't require a matching grant of $500,000, since it may cost less than any other land purchase by the town that I know about. Let's consider a few words from page 10 of the steering committee report that was completed in 2009. Quote, "Therefore, no new lands should be ruled out simply because we have not identified them today." End quote. Also, take into account the function of the 4 underground pipes that extend beyond the 224 Chesterfield Road's southern and western boundary lines. Compare 3 of them with the modern-day storm drain systems. In conclusion, I look forward to East Lyme officials handling my proposal in a manner that affords me the same status, rights, privileges, opportunities as the others with their proposals on an equal basis with the absence of prejudice. Take the necessary steps to ensure that all voters have easy access to information to adequately understand this Darrell Pond plan, the steering committee's report, and are allowed an equal opportunity to vote to reject or accept my proposal. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present my long-winded proposal. Long live democracy, fairness, and justice.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sawicki. Mr. Sawicki, our recording secretary is asking for a copy of that to make it a permanent record of our minutes. Would you
Well-
mind that?
This is in a form of just outline for talk. I can email you a better copy with the right punctuation and all that. Word for word.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak under public delegations? Next item is the approval of minutes from the meeting of December 4th, 2013.
So moved? Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Next item would be the consent calendar.
I'll move to approve the consent calendar for the meeting of December 18th, 2013, in the amount of $499.49.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there a discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Under new business, we had agreed, I think, to switch B and A, the resolution resolving Flanders Plaza. Is that okay?
Yep.
Great.
This is the area of property behind the Flanders Plaza where Tri-Town is. And as a result of that subdivision, we're going to put some of this land aside. Mr. Gaishel is the town planner, and he was involved in this, and that's why I have asked him to participate in the meeting this evening.
This is a bit of a new protocol policy for the town based on some pending litigation, but it was advised by Ed O'Connell that easements for open space that would be in the name of the town and/or land that was deeded fee simple be accepted by the Board of Selectmen through a formal action. Although it has not been standard or typical in the past, he's recommending that we proceed forward with any new open space acquisitions through subdivision approvals in this fashion. So I certainly have copies of the plan if you're interested in the location, but as the first selectman indicated, it is behind the CVS Plaza along Latimer Brook. The purpose basically is for, to prevent any further encroachment of the parking area adjacent to the brook.
So as part of the subdivision, they deeded this property, are willing to deed this property to the
To the town.
town to protect any encroachment, further encroachment.
Further encroachment. That's correct.
And is there an 824 planning review required?
No, I believe the planning commission has already approved the subdivision. The Mylar has been filed. This would just be a final step in accepting and recognizing that this area has been deeded as open space.
And how much of an area are we talking about? Just so the people listening will have an idea what we're talking about. It's
Yeah, when you have to do that. That's nobody's fault.
43,800 square feet?
Is that the, is that?
That's what I have
the
on
letter?
the
That's what
plan
we have
here,
on
up
this
in
thing.
in the bubble. 43,000
That's
and
approximately
change
an
square
acre.
feet.
Approximately.
approximately an acre?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought you might have had that information relative.
I just pulled out the
Okay,
site.
It's a long acre.
So it's an acre in a long strip
Long strip, yeah,
along the back parking lot.
parallel with Latimer Brook,
It's on the backside of that whole piece of property, basically, right?
basically, yes.
Yeah. And we would never have known about this prior to this,
To-
Ed's idea of doing this.
That's correct.
Correct. It would already been done.
It's been filed, is my
Yeah,
understanding.
exactly. That's what I'm getting at. It was already
We just need to
filed.
formally
Recognize
recognize and acknowledge and accept it.
that's correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'm good.
I was chair of the zoning commission when they redid this plaza and worked the parking in the back there. They were already very conscientious about protecting the wetlands in the back, and that was part of the plan, is to keep this protected, so we're just gonna be able to do it forever.
Put some eyes on it, basically, yeah.
Any further discussion or conversation or questions for Mr. Gaishel? All right. Hearing none, you have a resolution, I believe, in your packet.
I'll move the following resolved, that the East Lyme Board of Selectmen accepts the conservation easement proposed by GPF Flanders Plaza LLC, submitted in connection with the approval of a subdivision plan by the East Lyme Planning Commission. The easement premises consists of a strip of land along Latimer Brook and are more particularly described in the easement document.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed or abstain? Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight, appreciate it. Okay. Next item is
Try
appointment.
to get that back together. Oh, you did pretty good.
Next item is appointments, boards, and commission. As you know, at the beginning of every term, there are a number of expirations that occur. I want to thank Ms. Hardy for all her hard work on, and everybody else who was participating in this and in getting contact with some of these. We will get a majority of these tonight, should you agree to the names. And what I've done is asked Darlene and the town clerk to provide you with a couple of different statuses. I believe you have the before Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, which is a list of all of the current, up-to-date, elected and appointed officials. And then, I have that?
Yeah.
What else did you give them? Just this
What
one?
do
We have the newbies.
You have the presents.
Okay, so I'm the only one who has that, but you're welcome to get a copy of that if you like. So, I thought it was here together with me, so I
I think it
thought-
was at the last meeting, Paul. It was
Yeah,
in
we
our-
had it last.
Okay,
time.
you had it in the last
Yeah.
meeting. Okay, so you've had that.
Mhm.
And so now there's a corresponding type of list for town assignments listed by commissions or boards. And there's a whole list of motions. A lot of these folks are returning, some are new. You'll see as you go through this, there'll be some vacancies. Those are for people that we need to still find or agree to be appointed, such as a second person on Ledgelight Health District. We have a member of Water and Sewer that needs, we have a Town Building Committee, we have two on the Smith-Harris Commission, so there are a couple of those. But we also have a few other items that we're going to bring at the January 8th meeting and that should be the lion's share of the appointments. Any appointments after that are things that we just can't fill to date because there is no interest or we don't have anybody. Also, some of the things that we're trying to do is to get everything back on balance based on resignations and other people not being appointed to the correct term. So we're rebalancing the expiration to match the existing charter requirements. And so there was a lot of work done by Leslie and Darlene to try to come up with all of that. So you'll see some of the dates may be a little different, but the reason is for that purpose, that they're going to have the end date that they do. So if there's no other questions or comments, we can take each board or commission and then make a motion and then have discussion as you wish to go forward, or we can entertain some discussion now. What is your-
Can I make a suggestion? We just start from one end of the table and we can all make alternate motions. If you wish to pass and not make the motion, you can just say pass. So you can kind of start and we'll just
Is
kind of move along
any
down the
further,
line.
before we get to that, any further conversation on what I just outlined?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so however you want to make the motions, that's fine.
Which starts?
All right,
Okay.
you want to start, Kev?
All right, I'll start with Aging. I move to appoint to the Commission on Aging Marge Cast, John Rittner, Barbara R. Smith, and Joan Bankston. Their terms to...
Where'd you
No.
get
Do you
that?
have
Wait a minute.
this?
No, I don't have that.
Where are the list of motions?
You have a
You
list of
should have it in
motions?
his
Oh,
packet.
right here, sorry.
Roger.
Move to appoint Joan Bankston of 67 Walnut Hill Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve on the Commission of Aging through January 4th of 2016.
Second.
What happened to the ones on top?
He can go back to
You can go back to those.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
We'll make him go back.
I'm sorry, I dismissed that one to...
it's been seconded.
So motion is made and second. Any discussion?
You know
on
what?
this?
At least you are, it's the Aging Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I couldn't,
Oh, wow.
I'm so sorry. That was wrong.
No, that was game, set, and match, Rob. That was really
Wrong.
good.
I love you.
Yeah.
Further
I hope my
discussion on
kids aren't
this?
watching because I'll really
Further
hear what they
discussion
know.
on Ms. Bankston? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
And I'll also move to appoint to the Commission on Aging John Rittner of 4 Blueberry Lane, Niantic, Connecticut, Barbara R. Smith of 2 Clark Lane, Niantic, Connecticut, and Marge Cast of 4 Windfall Lane, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve on the Commission of Aging through January 8th, 2018.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Any discussion on that item? All those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries.
I'll do one more, then I'll pass it to Roseanne that way. I move to appoint to the Building Code of Appeals, Paul J. Baker Jr. of 8 Bishop Bay Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, Eugene Schultz of 24 Scott Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, and John Cotillo III of 74 Fairhaven Road, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve on the Building Code of Appeals through January 8th of 2018.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries.
Move to appoint to the Cable TV Advisory Committee, Robert Vogel of 49 Webster Road, to serve on the Cable TV Advisory Committee through January 8, 2018.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries.
Deputy Fire Marshals. Move to approve Donald Marr, 29 Mayfield Terrace, Evan Haynes of 83 Lovers Lane, Christopher Taylor of 9 Monticello Drive, to serve as Deputy Fire Marshals for the town of East Lyme through January 8, 2018.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Hearing a second, is any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Good. I'll move to appoint Nicholas Marola of 15 Goodwin Street, Niantic, to serve as Deputy Director of Emergency Management through January 8th, 2018.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries.
I'll move to appoint William Montezoris of 88 Smith Street, Joseph Hitchery of 32 Bishop Bay Road, and Barbara Johnson of 35 Seacrest Ave to serve on the East Lyme Harbor Management Shellfish Commission through January 8th, 2018.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any discussion on these appointments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries.
Okay. A move to appoint Elizabeth Kuchta of 154 Pennsylvania Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve as town historian through January 8th, 2018.
Second.
Second.
Motion is made, seconded, Mr. Wilson. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Move to appoint Stephen Marks Hamilton of 39 Sunnyside Drive